There we are. I think we may be live. Maybe. Howard, can you hear us, my friend?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. I've got you loud and clear. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big program. Howard Mahan is with us. He's going to be part of a huge show with the Stonecutters Union coming up this Saturday at the Red Shed in Hutchinson, Kansas. You guys are going to be doing something a little bit differently. You're going to be doing an Allman Brothers tribute show, which is fantastic. First of all, who came up with this idea? Because I think this is a cool idea.
It's really actually a cool idea. This is the fourth time in 5 years that Sean McDonald of Stonecutters Union has kind of orchestrated something like this. I wasn't. This is the second time I've done it. We took last year off, but it used to be with a different band that Sean was involved with, and that band had kind of fallen apart. So, and it was just really kind of for fun. But after the first couple times they did it, the other band had fallen apart, and then I kind of showed up at the same time, and I was like, well, this is too much fun to not try to do it again. So, it's really fun because we all love that music, and it's both of our bands kind of combining forces to get all the parts covered, and it's a good excuse to just play the music that we really, really loved and learned to play guitar to. So
that's awesome. We have got Howard Mahan with us today. Him and the Stonecutters Union are going to be presenting the music of the Allman Brothers this Saturday night at the Red Shed. Tickets are $20 in advance, $25 at the door, and this is going to be quite the little show. Without giving away too much details, talk to me a little bit about what people are going to be experiencing at this show.
Sure. So the last time that we did this a couple years ago, it was the 50th anniversary of Eat a Peach. So we did that record in its entirety. This year, because unfortunately we lost Dickie Betts, we're leaning a little bit more into the Dickie Betts material, just kind of as a nod and a tribute to him. Still within the stuff that he did within the catalog of the Allman Brothers, but definitely leaning heavier into the more Dickie influence type stuff. So it'll be a show that's of a good length, not too long. It's probably 2.5 hours or so, and just a lot of the cool guitar lines and the classic songs that everybody knows, and a couple of deep cuts thrown in there, and that's what we're working with.
That is awesome. So talk to me a little bit about the influence that the Allman Brothers have had on you and the Stonecutters Union all these years.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Allman Brothers band in general, and every guitar player that seems to have ever come through there, is one of those bands that is just it's a standard for rock and roll.
Yes.
And jam band guitar. Like those songs, whether it's Jessica or In Memory of Elizabeth Reed or, Whipping Post or whatever, those songs, I think, to a lot of the blues bass guitar players or anybody that likes jam band type music, those songs are our jazz standard. So it's, the Stonecutters Union is a little bit more of a funk band, but they also kind of tread into the Southern rock atmosphere, and I originally came from a little bit more of a Texas blues background, but definitely found my way into the Southern rock jam aspect, and so the Allman Brothers, I think they feel like ground zero. So to be able to play that music and not just that the songs are great and the lyrics are great and the arrangements are great, but they're pretty specific when it comes to the dual guitar lines. So it's it's an undertaking and a process, and I feel like we're doing it the right way, and in the right spirit too, because it's also very free music too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is the layout like? Because the Allman Brothers have a ton of music. You guys literally could be up there for like 3 days. What is the layout for like a set list for something like this?
Yeah, so we talk about that quite a bit. We still are doing a lot of the material. Most of the material is from the first first four albums with Dwayne in there. So it's a lot of the material from the original band. And then there's a couple of deep cuts thrown from later albums. But most of it still really comes from the first 3 studio records and Live at the Fillmore.
That's awesome. So, the other question that I have when it always concerns, people doing tribute acts, are you guys going to be, is it a tribute act because you guys are doing the music, or are you dressing like these guys?
That's a great question. We specifically billed this one as Stonecutters Union and Howard Mahan and Friends are doing the music of the Allman Brothers, because I don't think anybody in either one of those bands really wants to be in a tribute band where we dress like those guys and pretend that we're those guys. We just really want to celebrate the music. We want to come together and celebrate the music of these bands and play it in the way that we want to hear it. So play it with respect for the songs and the arrangements. But we're not pretending to be the Allman Brothers.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome, because there are, I love the tribute acts that get out there and wear the outfits and do all the stuff. I've seen plenty of acts over the years at the Red Shed or the Blue Goat in Salina or all these various places. I've seen various people that have they've got the outfits, or there's a couple Doors tribute bands I've seen where they have the actual like sound equipment that these guys used. But I also have been to plenty of tribute shows where they're playing the music and they're not pretending to dress or look like these guys, and it doesn't affect the show at all. So I think that's awesome that you're doing this. Both between Stonecutters and us, we have some original music out there, and we play a lot of our own shows. So we really weren't super interested in, and it's really cool because there's some of those like Pink Floyd bands that like actually rent like Pink Floyd's light rig, right? Oh yeah.
So yeah, and that's awesome. That's just not really the game that we're in right now. We just want to play the music as well as we can.
Well, I think that's great. So, Howard, what is the, what is a sound check like compared to doing a tribute show to doing your own music? Because I'm sure there are different ways that you guys, set things up if you're playing someone else's material.
Yeah, a little bit. The big difference is there are 8 people in the band.
Wow.
That were taken to Hutchinson, and Stonecutters usually plays as a 4-piece. I do either 3 or 4. So the stage there's double drums on this. There's 3 guitars. There's acoustic guitars fed into that, and so we're a little bit more specific about what gear we're choosing so that it all works in the context to everything. And so because of that, also the stage layout is a lot wider, so we take a little bit more time to make sure we can hear things across stage better.
Yes.
Because if I'm just, I can speak for myself. I can't really speak for Stonecutters, but if I'm just doing a trio show, most of the time we can just put our gear up there and put a little bit of vocals in the monitor, and we're used to playing with each other, and we can just go.
Yes.
So it's a little bit more involved having 8 people on there, and also a lot with those guitar lines where everything's a little bit more precise. Being able to hear where other people are sitting is a little bit more important.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have got a great guest with us today. He is going to be part of a humongous show this weekend at the Red Shed. Howard Mahan and, of course, the Stonecutters Union and they are going to be doing a tribute to the music of the Allman Brothers this Saturday night, 8 p.m., $20 advance tickets, $25 day of show. And one of the things, due to the fact that the Allman Brothers are connect with you, and especially the Stonecutter guys, in such a way, talk to us a little bit about what are your favorite Allman Brothers songs to perform, and why are they your favorite?
I think it's actually, this is going to seem like I'm copping out, but one of the beauties of the Allman Brothers is that all of their music is really good, and it can kind of hit you at any point in time.
Yes.
A little bit differently. So we did, for example, like in Kansas City, we did this show last week, and so we're ready to, that was kind of our first one. We're doing 2 of them this year. And we did Melissa, and I wasn't expecting Melissa to be a highlight, but for me, it was a highlight because we wound up taking the ending section and turning it into a big crescendo. And that wasn't on my radar for something that was going to be a highlight of the night. But, prior to that, there's, it's so varied because, say, playing Jessica has very specific parts and harmonies, but then, you get into something like Whipping Post and it's got the intensity. It's got some different lines, but it's a lot more open. So, I think it varies quite a bit, and it just kind of depends on what mood you're in. And I think that's but for me personally, if I had to pick an all-time most fun song for me to play, it's Ain't Wasting Time No More.
That's
just because I learned to play slide to Eat a Peach, and that's the first song
that's awesome
on there.
That's awesome.
I get to feel like I'm 10 years old again. But that's a purely selfish reason. That's not a very musical reason.
Okay, so this next question is going to be more of a like music-y type of question. How do you handle the dual guitar harmonies that were such a signature of the Allman Brothers and their sound?
We have 3 guitar players in this band. So,
that's awesome. That's
myself, Matt Peters, and Sean McDonald. We're all teaming up to take on all of those parts. And a lot of the guitar lines are between Matt Peters and me, and we've spent several nights rehearsing, and Matt and I've got together individually to figure out who's going to play what part on what song.
That's awesome.
And we make sure we set up close enough to each other that we can really hear each other and make sure our timing's on. But it's definitely from a guitar player's point of view, that's one of the biggest intensity rehearsal points for the show, is making sure we know what part everybody's playing in which song.
That is fantastic. Well, before we let you go, do you guys have like social media or anything for just this project?
That's a really interesting question. Prior to Tuesday night, we didn't. But
that's awesome.
Somebody specifically requested. We actually had an agent specifically request that we put something up there. So there's now a Facebook page that's called Idlewild Midwest.
Wow.
But I don't know. I'm not in charge of that, so I'm not really sure.
Well, that's cool.
What exactly is going on with that. But, but it's funny that you should mention that. So most of the time, if you can just check out Stonecutters Union social media or mine, you'll be able to see everything that's connected to it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, this has been a treat. Thanks for making some time for us today. I look forward to talking to you guys on Saturday. Tickets are $20 in advance, $25 at the show, and it's at the Red Shed Music Venue. And of course, the Red Shed, they just keep doing amazing things out there. When you were talking earlier about, we have to set up a certain way because that stage is huge. You ain't a kidding on that, brother. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Well, Howard, thank you for making some time for us. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you this weekend. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, brother. There he goes. That is Howard Mahan with us today. He joins us live here on our big program. And, of course, this Saturday, $20 in advance, $25 day of show. It is at the Wretched Music Venue. And we are going to do this. We are going to take a brief time out. We are going to go